Good evening. My name is Dr. Paul Leslie, and I'm going to be your instructor for the PME 878 Experiential Learning course. So I thought I'd put this introductory video together for you so I could have a chance to explain to you my concept or understanding of the course and how I'm going to try and help you or guide you through the course. So let's have a look at a document I've prepared that hopefully will explain the course. So this is derived from, of course, our syllabus. And I'll just first of all highlight the fact that the course is called Experiential Practice in Education. So that experiential practice is based on, let me scroll down here, Kolb's learning cycle, also known as the experiential learning model or experiential learning cycle. So you may be familiar with this, so I don't want to talk too much about it, but I'll make a couple comments. One of which is that I don't see this so much as one way of learning or one model that we could use to structure learning experiences. I see it as the way that we do, in fact, learn in a sort of natural setting. So that's one aspect. This isn't like a concocted model. It's an observation of how we learn in our sort of natural habitat, if you will. So that being said, the more familiar we are with it, I think the better the learning experiences we as educators can actually design for our students. So for example, we have the 4 different aspects of the model. And what I've noticed in many projects that I've worked with and many different curricula I've taught within over the years, that, for example, we often overlook the value of having a reflective element to the project. And I do see in the last few years that reflection is becoming much more prominent in many projects. But I still see that there's a lack of it, or it's something to do to get past. It's not given its proper due. And we kind of tumble headlong from one project to the next without really thinking about, well, what did we learn from this experience? How do we use that new learning to build on our previous experiences and improve and get better? So that being said, let's just look at how I perceive this course to unfold. So I'll show you the timetable in a moment, but these are the 3 key elements of the course. So you'll start by, or you'll introduce yourself first of all, but the first main aspect of the course is to put together a proposal for a learning experience that you're going to have. And so I've color-coded this, so the proposal will be extracted from your teaching context, related to your teaching context, more or less, depending on what you want to do. And also, it will draw upon your own professional experiences and expectations for the course. So I've color-coded that because that's the experiential element that you will be drawing upon your own experiential learning from your teaching and your past experiences as a teacher and as a professional educator. That will then, as you start to work, as you complete your proposal and then start to work through your project, you'll be completing 3 experiential learning blogs or posts, I guess, discussion forums. So you'll do these in the form of a reflective journal. We'll do them in the discussion forum. And this is very much your chance to sort of work through your own experiential learning process of working on your project. So you'll do that 3 times and sort of cycling through this experiential learning cycle, the Kolb experiential learning cycle. And then by the end, when you finally finish your project, you're going to give us a summary of your experience and your experience of working through the experiential learning process. So you'll be discussing your experience of your experiential learning, if that makes sense. And the output of your project could be a proposal for your final thesis or capstone. It doesn't necessarily have to be. It could just be some other project that you wanted to complete that's ideally related to your teaching and learning context or your educational context or professional context. So 2 things to end with: a summary and a proposal for your final thesis or capstone. So if you then look at the actual dates and so forth, we start very soon, September 15th. So we'll jump right in and you'll do a personal video introduction. We'll watch those and watch each other's and comment on each other's so that we can I think it's really important to see what others are doing. You may think you have a great idea, but when you see what other people are doing, you might think, wow, that really captures something that I want to do. And then hopefully those comments and posts will also be equally valuable to you. At the same time, concurrently, Module 1 starts on the 15th. Module 2, we might as well jump right in. And so you'll also be thinking about and working on your draft proposal for your experiential learning experience. So there's the draft proposal, which I mentioned. You'll post that by the end of the 2nd week, September 28th. And you'll also then have a few days to comment on other people's posts and reply to comments on your own post. And those will be due by Friday, the 3rd of October. Then you'll start to actually work on your project. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that next week. I just want to give you an overview right now. So then Module 3, you'll actually then enact your experiential learning project. So you'll create a plan of action, which will basically be a schedule of how you're going to work through this. That will be due Sunday, October 5th, which I believe is around about the 3rd week. And then as you can see, you'll have each 2 weeks, you'll do a reflective journal update, post, read a few others and comment on theirs. The initial post is due on the 12th, 26th, and 9th on a Sunday, and then you'll have to the following Friday to read and comment on others. Finally, your final project and your sharing and summary of your experience of doing it will both be due on Friday, November 21st. So again, we'll look at these a bit more closely as we progress through the course. But here is the overview. If you're watching this video, you probably got an email from me with the full syllabus, this document, and the overview. And by Monday, you'll be able to access the course. Okay, so thank you very much for listening. And I look forward to meeting all of you in person, not in person, of course, but live during the Module 2 proposal. All right, thank you.